The snap from Christian Petrarca is bouncing. It's gone through.
One bounce, 50, 40, 30, 20, 15, closing, goal, and it's gone for the Demons.
Pickett steals the footy, smashes it over the shoulder. It's a long ball. That is an absolute gem from Pickett.
He thumps it long. Jara!
We might be in lockdown, but the Ds are inspiring us. Only one round to go and the minor premiership up for grabs as we head down the highway for a clash with the AFL's protected species. Welcome to the official, unofficial podcast of the Melbourne Demons. I'm your host, Adrian Horton, and tonight, home pod as always during lockdown. Adzi joins me. How are you, mate?
Yeah, going well, Nortsy.
Going well, and we've got a sub that's come in. Your big sexy brother Slammer. Is that the nickname you want to roll with on the pod, mate?
Yeah, let's go with that. How are you, Nortsy?
Yeah,
hey,
good.
Matt.
Good.
That's
good.
back from the humble abode down at Red Hill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
it's tough life.
Yeah, really tough life down in Red Hill, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
You bastard. But a shout out to Nuggo. He's just taking a bit of a break from tonight, Adzi. He just wants a night off.
Yeah, he's having a breather.
He's been on Media Street.
Yeah, he's featured heavily in the pod, so he deserves a breather. He'll be back
agree.
though.
He's a bit like Stephen May last week. We just thought we could have played him, but we're not going to risk him.
Bit sore.
Yeah, and Sam's almost like Joel Smith. He's like here for his position.
Yeah, and far out, man. He's kept his position. I cannot believe it. Like,
Will I grasp it? Will I grasp it with both hands or gas it?
Well, if 2018 prelim is anything to go by, when Joel Smith came in for Bailey Fritsch, you're probably going to gas. So
Yeah.
we'll just see what happens, Slammer. But boys, final round, minor premiership on the line, as I said. We're going to get stuck into team news straight away. Unbelievable. I'm a little bit shocked because I probably didn't expect old Joel Smith to keep his position. But let's not disregard. He was pretty rock solid last week. So the ins are Stephen May, Tom McDonald, Jack Viney, of course. Goody put it on the agenda early in the week. We knew they were going to come in. And then out goes Pig, Melksham as well, the two ex-Essendon boys. James Jordan goes out, so Sparrow stays in. And then AVB goes out as the Medi sub. So who knows who the Medi sub's going to be, which is always a bit weird. It throws me when they do team news, boys. But I'll go to you first, Adzi.
So firstly, the ins are amazing. Pumped about the ins, and they're the ins that we thought were going to come in. But I think we're all a little bit rattled that Joel Smith probably kept his position. Also, a little bit surprising for me is that James Jordan was dropped too, which shows that I don't know whether it's a matchup thing that they've kept in Sparrow. But yeah, I'm a little bit rattled with the outs, but pumped with the ins.
I would agree with that. I think Sparrow and Joel Smith, you even brought it up before, Slammer, when we were off air. Maybe they're just experimenting with a couple of players and giving them a chance to push their case ahead of finals.
I agree. I think for me, I'm really interested to see how T-Mac and Ben Brown are going to work together. I don't think they've both torn it up in the same game yet. I think one's either been hot and the other cold. So it'd be really interesting to see if they can hopefully try and build some cohesion going into the finals. But as you said, I reckon this is it's almost like a bit of a curtain raiser for the granny. And I think Goody's probably got his faith in Smith. It's hard to drop him after last week. He was pretty good last week. So, but if he's on a knife's edge, I reckon if he doesn't play well, Pig will come straight back in.
Yeah, for sure. Like if you were Michael Hibberd right now, would you be worried, Slammer?
I would be, because all Smith needs to do really is play well. I think they've just shown that, right? But I don't know. We were saying it just earlier that Pig's been good at certain stages this year. Like he shut down Dusty in that pre-Anzac Day game against Richmond, and he's had some really important roles, and he's done it, in finals before. So, you got to give credit where it's due, and Smith deserves his spot, but we'll see what happens in the first round.
It's so finals. Bizarre. He's come in, he's played one game for the entire year, and all of a sudden, of a sudden he's got a chance of playing finals.
Be more fucking lucky, Matt. In 2018, he came in for Bailey Fritsch, who just kicked 7 as well. I know this is years apart, but yeah. I'm a little bit rattled about it.
I'm rattled as well.
Back him in.
Yeah,
Back him in.
Yeah, we'll back him in, of course. Like, he's out there. He did a great job last week. And look, the one thing that Lloyd Tofflon keeps saying, our Monday panellist, is he's an athlete. He's got the package. We've just got to wait. He needs time to develop. Adsy's been saying, we don't want an athlete. We want a footballer. But last week I saw more footballer than athlete. And the one thing I actually liked about him, and we shouldn't diss him too hard, even though I don't think he's a 22 player, but the thing that I really enjoyed last week was his closing speed. Like, he looks like he was out of so many different duels.
Yeah, he's an athlete. Yeah.
He's an athlete. You're pressing.
And Pig's a footballer.
Yeah.
And Pig's a footballer, so it's a bit of yin and yang. But yeah, it's a really interesting call. I think it's going to throw a lot of people. It's going to rattle a lot of people. And I think it was only like last week or the week before that Joel Smith actually signed an extension with the club as well. So, look, you talk about taking your opportunities. Jake Bowie's come in. He's played 3 games. This will be his 4th game. Hopefully, it's yet another win for him.
Yeah, isn't it funny that he's a lock?
Oh,
Yeah.
He's played 3 games and, like, there's just absolutely no chance he was going anywhere.
No, he's an absolute lock. So that's footy. Like, we see these stories pop up all the time when you get to the end of the season. But I think Jake Bowie is not a surprise given everything we heard about him down at Casey, watching him during the odd weekend when I got a chance to. Like, he's a genuine gun. He just had to wait his time to finally get into the team.
Mate, he's broken into a team with literally no injuries. So the fact that he's done it in a team that's going to finish either probably first or second, no injuries, it's a credit to him being able to hold his spot. But like, he's one of those guys that you're like, yeah, I can see you playing 200 games. He's just super composed and looks really solid already. One thing on Joel Smith as well, it's going to be interesting, the dynamic now that May's back in. He almost played May's role last week.
Yeah.
So now May's going to be in there bossing him around. I wonder the difference that'll have on him and whether he plays a slightly different role as well this week.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe just, I don't know, maybe even the Pig role, he takes like a 3rd defender, 4th defender, and then they look for him to maybe be the springboard. Because, of course, we lost Jaden Hunt, so trying to replace that run and carry is going to be really interesting. Probably not the biggest fan of Smith's kicking skills. Great interceptor, spoiler, that type of defender. But I don't necessarily think we need someone like him being...
Handball it to Bowser.
Yeah, we don't need him being the rebounder. Just give it a little Bowser. But we'll have a look at Geelong as well. So they've got some decent ins, and they've got some relatively big outs as well. But Tom Atkins is in, Brian Myers, which is the weirdest first name of all time.
Fine grind.
So strange. And Gary Rowan's in as well. And then out, Zach Guthrie omitted, Sean Higgins is managed, Quinton Narkle, the Medi sub, and Radigalea got dropped as well, boys. So what do we make of those?
Radigalea is the one for me. I find that interesting. Who's their number one ruckman? Does Blichtsave play in the ruck, or is he key defender now?
I think he's key defender because Stewart's gone down.
No, they got Reece Stanley.
So they got Stanley. So they're almost saying, okay, Stanley, you're going to go head to head against Jackson and Gawn, because Radigalea has been that second ruck, right? So is that a way that we can expose them? Are they trying to purposely play a bit smaller? Who knows? But I think that's probably the biggest out for me. All the others I can see, that makes sense. But
yeah, I think just on the ruckman thing, I think we even brought it up on Monday. That is going to be almost our biggest advantage heading into finals against all the other contenders.
God,
mate, Dogger and Gawn. Dogger and Gawn is a duo.
Jackson's so good.
Well, just compared to all the other ruckmen that you see in the league, like the fact that Tim English gets bullied around by Sam Draper, who I don't think is a top ruckman yet, but he'll get there one day. Like, we're very lucky in terms of our ruck stocks, and well done to Melbourne for going out and getting Dogger, and everyone's hanging shit on us and going, why are you getting this kid at number 3? All of a sudden, it's reinvigorated Gawn. It's given him a chance to go forward, impact the scoreboard, and then the best thing is Dogger's starting to hit the scoreboard finally and starting to clunk him.
He's hitting it heaps.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he doesn't miss. He's still never made a mistake.
Can he teach Gawn how to kick, by the way?
Yeah, Gawn's almost getting dropped here, and he's going to be the All-Australian ruckman. That's how good Dogger is.
As Tommy Cork said, he's a 6'10" Gary Ablett Jr. Jacko.
I
You
love
can
that.
do it all.
No, you've stolen some good material there by TC, who's always a little bit negative from too much for my liking anyway.
No, Tommy Corcoran's not too negative.
Oh, did you say Tommy Corcoran or TC?
Yeah, Tommy Cork.
Tommy Cork.
He'll be listening.
Apologies, Tommy Corcoran. Apologies. Hopefully he takes that one. Look, this game, there are a lot of ramifications to come out of tomorrow night. So, I mean, I don't know where I necessarily sit. I've said it recently that I don't really care that much about who we play in week one because I think we've proven anywhere, anytime we can beat anyone. But in saying that, I would probably prefer the Bulldogs to win tomorrow night because then if we happen to win, it gives us an opportunity to play Port week one. And I've constantly said it. I don't really rate Port. I would love to play them week one. I think we would get them. On the flip side, if Port happen to get up, we then run the risk of going over to Adelaide Oval in week one. But I wouldn't fear that. I would not fear that one bit. So I don't know where you guys sit. Like, do you have a preference about Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, there was a bit of a debate on our WhatsApp, wasn't there, Matt, about whether you play a full-strength team this week. Oh, I think you do. I think you just want to get the win, and then have that sort of that momentum going into the finals, but also guarantee the top two spot. I think the worst case scenario for us will be Port win tomorrow night, and then we lose, and we're a chance to actually have to go to Adelaide and play Port there. If the Bulldogs win, I'll be far more relaxed. We can go into Saturday night and know we've got a top two sewn up, and then we'll be able to basically choose where we play and whether it's playing Port or playing the Bulldogs, or even I think it's so close in terms of percentage. We could play either of those three teams. So I think just win and get it done.
And we could play Brisbane as well, Adsy, which would be interesting.
That'd be huge. I also wouldn't really like that because they're sort of flying at the moment. But just going back to winning and the game, obviously tomorrow night, 100% want to be going for the Dogs because then it just puts us in a guaranteed home final. Also, 100% want to win. So some people are saying that if the Dogs win, then we're guaranteed top two, so let's just take it easy, let's rest. No, I want to go in form. I want to hit the Cats as hard as we can, obviously hoping for no injuries, but I want to win that game and go in, especially with no bye in the finals, going in a week later with momentum against a Port at the, wherever it may be, whatever ground we decide, but as a home final. I think that is a huge advantage. In saying that, if the Dogs win tomorrow as well, finishing second if we have to play Geelong or whoever it may be, that's still an awesome position to be in. But got to go for minor premiership. Like, imagine winning minor premiership.
Yeah, it'd be good. And it would be probably some added impetus as well because I think it may have even been Max Gawn on his podcast with Gus this week. He actually spoke about how the minor premier hasn't gone on to win the flag in recent years. We know that there's only been two teams in the past 10 years, and the most recent one was Hawthorn in 2013. Max spoke about that, and I could almost sense that he was like, you know what, let's buck a trend. Let's finish first.
Can I give you another little stat here? So I was reading an article today, and it said that in the last 10 years, only, I think it was one or two teams that have lost in the final round have gone on to win the premiership.
Yep. It was Sydney and the Doggies. So Sydney in 2012 and the Doggies.
And they both had an outrageous run.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we want to be winning that last round. If you're looking at numbers and you're a stats person, you want to be winning that last round.
Isn't that weird though? Like, I find that bizarre that so many teams that have finished first haven't gone on to win. You'd think that would be a really good form guide for winning the flag. The other thing just on winning this week, everyone's sort of spoken a little bit about resting players. We need to give them a rest. A lot of our 22 have played the vast majority of the year, so I understand that. But what we got to do is win this weekend, win our first final, and give our players a week off in between the qualifying final and a prelim. And then there's every chance that if you win the prelim, there's going to be another bye after that before the grand final. So that's your 2 weeks break. We should be thinking about the 2 breaks in that regard rather than resting players in round 23 in my eyes.
100%. I think winning form, you take in a month of wins, 4 wins in a row. And Adsy, we were speaking about this like today, or it may have even been yesterday. I think most of our days now are just filled in terms of sending messages in WhatsApp. Oh, well, every day is just, can I speak about footy a little bit more? How can I stretch these footy chats because we've got nothing else in this frigging lockdown, right? And we said, how weird was it that 2 weeks ago we were pazzing out and we were thinking, shit, we could be fifth, we could be straight sets, or we could be out in week one. And now all of a sudden we're talking about winning 4 in a row to finish the season. Like, how much confidence could this give the playing group if all of a sudden we've got a month under our belt of winning footy? Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then the Dogs as well. Like, the Dogs were the team that everyone thought was absolutely flying. And now they're the ones that, like, they can finish fifth. Imagine if they finished fifth. That's huge.
Yeah, from where they were.
That is very doable. Like, Port are in some great form at the moment. They could beat them.
And Brisbane. But, yeah, I think it could be set for one of the great – it's just a shame there's not going to be – I don't think there's going to be finals in Melbourne, but it could be one of the great final series just given how close the top 4, even the top 5 are. And then you've got, Smokies in the bottom half of the 8, like GWS, who seem to have kicked into gear and they could beat multiple teams, and Essendon's beating the Dogs. So it could be a runner from the bottom half as well. So it's going to be really, really exciting.
Essendon is shit. I don't care what anyone says. I'm sorry. They're limping in on 11 wins.
How hard are we going to be watching Freo's game first at midday?
Oh!
If they win, surely Collingwood are throwing the kitchen sink at them.
100%. I've been thinking about that during this week as well, because it's funny. Like, we've got a lot of mates that obviously go for Essendon, and Mert's one that springs to mind immediately, and Alex Kingham. Boys, I would love nothing more to see. This is the ideal weekend for me. It's Doggies get the job done. Melbourne get the job done. Liverpool are playing at 9:30, which is prime during a lockdown. So hopefully Liverpool get a win for me. And then Sunday, seeing Fremantle get the chocolates against St Kilda, and then you roll into a Collingwood trying to do what they did to us in 2017. That was the worst day of footy, by the way. That was up there with the Eagles for me. Like, how perfect would it be just to sit back knowing you've secured the minor premiership, you've got a match up against Port at a venue you want, and then you watch the Dons implode? It would be beautiful.
That actually sounds like I'm close to exploding at the moment. Just going back to, like you just said, 2017, that feeling of, like, we hadn't played finals in so long. And I still remember, I think I was at an old Zabs footy. I was at a footy.
Yeah, we just won the flag.
Anyway, it was shocking. Like, we were watching a TV and you could just see it happening, and they had the live ladder going. It was showing the percentages. Anyway, of course, we missed out, but I think it was by 0.1%. And now we find ourselves in a position where we're talking about a minor premiership, and we can literally sit back. Like, we've already locked in top 4. That's outrageous in itself. Being told that at the start of the year, you'd be laughing.
Yeah.
And we can actually finish first and watch a team like Essendon gas it potentially, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Another little stat. We if we win on Saturday night, the most amount of wins we've ever had in a home and away season is 16. So we're on that now, but we've also got the draw. So we've already surpassed it. But I'd love to get the 17th win and say, on paper, this is actually our most successful home and away season ever.
Mental.
Ever.
It's mental. I'm like thinking back to our prediction show, Adsy. I think I had us in the highest point, I think, would be 7th. I think I had us between a range of 7 to 10. I think you were similar to me. You had us bottom of the 8. Nuggets had us in 9th. He's like, we'll lose out again in the last round, getting really dark about it.
Yeah, he did say that, actually.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think we're all around the same area.
It's mental. It's absolutely mental. So, yeah, Slam, a great point. Like, even just where we are right now, the fact that we've collected the most points in a home and away season to this point because of that very handy draw that you two got really upset about, mind you.
So upset.
It was very.
Look at it now, though.
Yeah. I mean, things have had to fall our way. It's amazing. Every team's had that little down patch where, for a month or so they're touted as the best team in the comp, and then they'll lose to someone that they should lose to. So it's funny how it changes.
It's weird. And also, Hawks are the best rated team in the comp over the past 6 weeks. Like, Clarko, let him go. Like, what the fudge?
Yeah, like almost sack Goodwin and sign him.
Yeah, after the winningest season ever. It's like, sorry, Goody, we just couldn't resist it. Clarko's on the market. See ya, pal. Like, it's absolutely crazy to see what Hawthorn are doing. And a few other teams, like, end of season. I think that's the beautiful thing about the AFL now. Like, it is so frigging even. And Slammer made the good point before, like, this final series is wide open. Like if you're a neutral sitting back, watching the final series, maybe like a Collingwood who are like, we knew our season was stuffed within the first 6 rounds. There's all the turmoil behind the scenes with the board. Like if you were sitting back watching finals and you'll chill with it and you're like, oh, well, we're not there, but whatever. Like you'd be so excited to see how this is going to pan out. There are 5-6 teams that can win the flag. It's mental.
Yeah. And probably moving on a little bit to Geelong, Nordsey. I've done a bit of research on Geelong, and
just quickly, how much do you hate them?
Oh, so much. I think that they'd have to be top. I think for me, just they've been good for so long.
Can you explain that?
I just think
embellish.
There's a bit of a tall poppy syndrome in Australia. It always has been, and just a lot of their players over the years haven't really liked. I think Joel Selwood sort of top of that list for me. I just can't stand him. Even Danger. I used to like Danger when he was at Adelaide, and then he went to Geelong and instantly just got
What about their coach, Sam?
Oh, the coach and the way he carries on, and his slick back hair now with his designer beard, and he's hot. I just hate him. And also, we've also been at the opposite end of some absolute hidings to Geelong over the last 15 years. So it's almost, just hopefully a bit of payback. It was great knocking him out in 2018, but God, if we can do it again, it'll be great. And I think I've got some stats here to back it up. So I think, everyone talks about Geelong being this amazing team over the last, I'll say 11 years since Chris Scott came in, and they have been in the home and away season. They've won their way to they've been top 4 in 8 of the last 11 years, and 4 of those they've been top 2. They've only won 1 flag. And so, you can look at it 2 ways. It's like, are they taking advantage of their home ground down in Geelong and just a super home and away, team? And then they get to the finals. And I think they're a little bit choky. So if there's one team out of Port, Dogs, and let's say Brisbane, anyone else that's sort of right up there, I would want to cop Geelong, I think, because I just think that their list profile, that they're all chips in. They've got the oldest team in the comp. They didn't have one player in the 40-man squad of the under-22. Every other club was represented. Geelong was the only one that didn't have one player. Wow. So for me, they're definitely reaching the summit, and they're about to drop off massively. So I think we've got to be wary of that. I think they'll throw everything at it. I mean, if I think about the last time we played them, they didn't have Danger. May got subbed out pretty early on from that dog act from Tom Hawkins. Not really, but he was out for most of the game. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. But I just thought very interesting in terms of their final success under Scott, because everyone would think of him as a really successful coach because he got that first flag in the first year. But since then, haven't done much in finals.
It's been handed to him on a silver platter. That first one in particular, it's like, oh, hey, Chris Scott, you want to come into the AFL and coach one of the greatest teams of all time?
Yeah.
Here's a flag.
But you haven't tasted success before, have you? Oh, wait, yeah, you've won heaps of flags. Want to win more?
It's crazy. Like, he annoys the shit out of me as well. He's smug. He's a bit arrogant. I'll give it to him, though. He's one of the few coaches that is intelligent, articulate. You can actually listen to him.
He's good in the media. Yeah.
He's very good in the media. You can actually gain something from his press conferences and his interviews, whereas people like Ben Rutten really don't offer too much. And you can throw a blanket across a lot of different coaches. Like even our coach doesn't really say a lot. I think
he's a bit of a robot.
In saying that, as much as I hate Chris Scott, I do think he is actually a good coach. I think he's a good game day coach as well.
He is.
I mean, 9 finals wins from 21 games. That's sort of where you're going to get judged, I reckon. And if you take out that first year, they won 3 finals in that first year, and so then it's 6 from 18. So he's basically winning a third of his finals. Yeah. So are you judged on that, or are you judged on your home and away season wins?
That's a good point. It's a really good point. I think deep down he would know that, and that's why I think they're our biggest challenge. Not only obviously on the weekend, we want to put our best foot forward, hopefully get a win. Plant a few seeds of doubt in their minds heading into finals. But clearly for me, they're the team that we need to beat when push comes to shove, when we get into the finals. I think if we're doing a seeding system, boys, and I don't want to put us on top because I don't want to tempt it too much, but I think given
we've got to be top.
well,
we have to be top.
Given our form line,
Is in right now?
As in right now, I think if you were going to seed it, I think you would have to probably look at us. And I spoke to a bloke that writes for Fox Sports today, actually, and he said Melbourne can't not be top right now because of the way that they're defending the ground, injuries, health and fitness. You are top, and if
our record,
Also the record this year, we've beaten everyone besides Collingwood.
Yeah, and do you know what? I'm not afraid to say that anymore, Adzi. Like, I'm happy for us to take the top seed. Like, we're the top seed right now, if you looked at it objectively, not even putting your Melbourne hat on. And I think Geelong have to be second for me. I think they're the second seed just because they've got some experience. They've got players that have played in flags before. Sam's right. They're coming right to the end of this list, and they need to crank it right now.
You know what, though, with Geelong, which I don't back, and which is why I reckon, which is sort of a reason why their finals football maybe hasn't been that good in the past 10 years, they're always there, is the game style. I reckon the game style changes a little bit in finals and it's fast-paced, there's more intensity. Their game style is keepings off.
Yeah,
they're all older now as well, and they just need to hit their targets. But then when they get into a final, there's the intensity's right up. They have teams running them off their feet. Like, that's why I reckon our game style will hold up massively against them. But then in saying that, someone like a Jaden Hunt is a big out for us because that's someone who can just break the lines. So hopefully, I don't know if Bowser has any pace to him, but someone like that, if they can just, run through, generate some run there, will be extremely hard to beat.
Yeah, I agree. Look, my third seed is probably controversial. Actually, it's not controversial, to be honest. They've shown some good form in the last few weeks. I think Brisbane are in third spot for me. Again, I just don't rate Port Adelaide. I think Brisbane have shown as well, especially against us in that first half when we played them. They had us on toast. I don't think any other team that we've come up against has actually had us on the ropes like they did. I know we've lost a few games to some lower sides, and I don't know, maybe we can say Emotion got the win for Collingwood. Adelaide kicked 15-6, had a day out. We lost by a point. There was a shit decision at the end, so you can kind of understand that loss. Whereas GWS was 7-13, and then the Doggies just got us at the end. So look, I genuinely think the team that exposed us more than any other team was Brisbane that first half when we played them. So I think they're dangerous. I rate them. I think they're my third seed, and then my fourth seed's a toss of the coin between the Doggies and Port, probably.
Yeah. Brisbane don't really have a clear weakness. I feel like they're one of those sides that got a really good spine.
Yeah.
It's just, I think they're like most teams at the moment. They're just really hot and cold, but they're hot at the moment. It's just whether they can maintain that for another 5 weeks. But yeah, I think if you turn it just back to...
Would you put Brisbane in at third, or are you guys a bit different? Would you throw Dogs or Port in at third? So
I reckon the top four as it is now, I think that's the top four. You can sort of play around with the order a little bit, but I think Brisbane they'd be right there, but who knows what can happen in the finals.
Yeah.
Just going to say on the the game style, I think it could actually be a pretty must game for a pretty shocking game on Saturday because Geelong will try. They will be very acutely aware that Lever's in ripping form. He's about to break the record for intercept marks in one season, and May's coming back in. So the last thing they'll want to do is basically bomb it long to those guys. And I saw some footage, and this is basically just stealing off one of the footy shows I saw this week, but they'll basically go from one side of the ground to the other and chip it all the way through the centre and just wait until they can hit up a 30-metre target. So it could be one of those really frustrating keepings off games where we're like, oh, come on, boys, just get it. But last time we played him, Track had 36, nine clearances and 2 goals. So, if we can get a couple of games like that out of Clary and Track and some of our good players, I think we'll just break them open in the last quarter. Hang on,
did you say 36, 9 clearances, 2 goals?
And a goal, I think. Sorry.
Wow.
1 goal.
And that was round 4.
We're going to win. I'm calling it.
Yeah, I reckon we're going to win too. And
we're going to fucking smash it.
Oh, here's the Matty optimism.
It doesn't. But it's a ground that shouldn't hold any fear because there's no crowd.
Is there a crowd?
No. There's no crowd.
I was having a look through the Footy Live app. Then I just saw. I think we're $1.96. That's pretty good odds.
Yeah, really good odds. Look, the thing I was going to say was it shouldn't hold any fears for us because of what we've seen in the last 2 rounds down at the category. So GWS did a number on them. St Kilda were in the hunt for a long time during that game and then lost their way because they're St Kilda and they're putrid. But like the Cats at the moment, given that there isn't a crowd and it's not a hostile environment, it's nothing to fear. And GWS, I'd tell you what, Slammer, you talk about tactics. They did such a ripping job on them in terms of using their forwards and bringing their defenders away from the contest. So what Geelong like to do is they like to lead with their forwards. They like to lead their forward to the ball as much as they can. Whereas what GWS did was they had a lot of forwards that were exposing them with their width. So their running patterns were really strange. They were like running out to the pockets and doubling back to goal. And effectively what that did was it made like Henry and guys like Stewart, it made them accountable so they couldn't really affect the play. I'm going to watch it, and it's hard to watch it when you're on TV, and you always go back to the footy shows and then they show the actual vision of how it all works. But I will be interested to see if Melbourne try and do a little bit of that, try to take away a guy like Henry. Because, look, as much as Stewart is an absolute freak and one of the best defenders in the comp, and I put him up in the same category as Lever as an intercept defender, Henry is a really important player for them as well. And I've been super, super impressed with his form. And he's
only played 10 games though, or something like that, hasn't he, Henry? I thought he played.
I'm pretty sure he's played a lot more. Like I've been really, really impressed with his form. Look, the thing is, someone's going to have to fill that void. Like, is it Blitzarves that's going to try and play that role? It's not going to be O'Connor. He's too raw. So I'm thinking it's going to be a mixture of Blitzarves and Henry trying to wax off in terms of playing the intercept role. Can they do it to that level? I don't know. But I actually reckon Henry's a jet.
Yeah, sorry, I was getting mixed up between this Henry and Oliver Henry, who plays for Collingwood. I think he's only played 10 games.
No, we're talking about Jack, number 38. Very good player.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in terms of their outs, like Stewart is a top 3 player for them. He's a massive out. But then you got to remember that Mitch Duncan is out as well, who's one of their best. And Tui. And so they're 3 probably players in their top 7 or 8, I reckon. So I was thinking back to last time we played them. We won by 4 goals, we won by 25 points, but we had 10 more scoring shots. So it could have been a lot more. Yes, they didn't have Danger. So you go, okay, Danger's coming back in for this game. But then they don't have those 3. So what impact does that have on the output? We're going to have the same team, if not stronger. So if you base it on our form against them, albeit round 4, a long time ago, we should be really confident for this game, and they're favourites. So
I do remember though, and I agree with you, but they had Danger out as well.
That's what I was saying though. They had Danger out, but they also had Stewart, they had Duncan, and they also had Tui.
Yeah. So, sorry, I missed you saying Danger was out there. Just had a bit of a toilet break.
Not a darts break because Nuggo's not here, so that's okay. What do we think about Jeremy Cameron, boys? Obviously, he's a barometer for them. They're a completely different team when he's in the side. I think Gary Lyon was saying their efficiency inside 50 when he's not playing, they're ranked 14th in the comp. When he's in the side, they're ranked 4th in the comp. Like, that's ridiculous.
I reckon I'm starting to make sense now I think about it.
Yes.
The whole Joel Smith thing.
Oh.
Because he's pretty similar. Like Jeremy Cameron is quite athletic, quite light, but agile. I think Joel Smith probably has a better body type to go against him. And then you've got May, who will obviously take Hawkins, and Lever, who can intercept. So I'm starting to back the Joel Smith theory here at the moment.
Yeah,
there's probably a few listeners screaming at their radio at the moment. I've just realised that Cameron didn't play when we played him in round 4 either. So they didn't have Jeremy Cameron or Danger. So
but that's why I like Adzy's point, because if you've got Petty as well, and you've got Lever, and you've got Smith, and obviously Hawkins and May go to each other, then you've got 3 pretty big, strong intercept-type defenders that can do a job on Jeremy Cameron. Now, we know one player is going to get the job. I actually think it'll be Petty. So I think Petty might get the job first, but if it's not really working, what a great luxury. All of a sudden you can put the athlete on him.
There's 3 other blokes that can try and play him as well.
How good's that?
I mean, we're very lucky.
We're stacked.
Yeah, we are stacked. So, but it's not good for Hibbo, because Hibbo will be thinking, oh, fuck, if this guy has a decent game on the weekend, I'm stuffed. But maybe there's a bit of flexibility there. Like, Hibbo's obviously a lot smaller. He's more of a rebounder. He does a lockdown on the medium-sized forwards. But, like, if Joel Smith has a big game, and do you know what? Hypothetically, let's say Joel Smith actually does a number on Jeremy Cameron. And that was the idea all along. Melbourne said, okay, Jeremy Cameron's a barometer for them. We know how important he is to their flag chances. Why don't we just play Joel Smith again? And if it works, all of a sudden we got this ace up our sleeves for finals.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, what if this mix is just a magical concoction of this amazing premiership team that we're seeing, and then no one else gets in? It could happen that way, or we could go, all right, drop him, and we've got the luxury of bringing in some pretty good replacements.
I'd be devastated for Hibbo. I think, like, if Hibbo weren't to play in a flag after playing nearly every single game for the whole season, look at us talking about flags. You'd be devastated for someone like him, because I reckon he's given his heart and soul to the club ever since.
I mean, what would you think of Jones missing out then? I mean, if there's anyone you're going to be devastated for, it's probably Nathan Jones, right?
I'm a bit different.
He's not close. He's not close to the team, is he? Not like Pig in terms of selection.
Yeah,
he's not close. Look, our hearts go out to Jonesy, but I think, I know I said it on the podcast a few times, like, he was lucky to get another season. And I think clearly Melbourne just wanted him to get to 300 because the next week he was out of the team. So, you know, you can draw your own
Has he come back in since then? He's been emergency.
And it sort of makes me think, do you reckon he said that he doesn't want to be the sub? Because if he was sub, he would have beaten Nietzsche's record. So do you reckon he's just like, don't make me sub? I don't want to get.
I thought he had been sub a couple of times this year. I don't know.
He's been sub a couple of times. I actually have a feeling that when Tomo went down, no, Baker came on, didn't he? That was so strange. Baker came on in the North game, round 7, when Tomo went down. Yeah, Jonesy'd be. I don't know. What do you think Jonesy is thinking? Like, is he just happy to be around the club, knowing that we're a flag chance?
He'd have to be pumped at where the club is. Like, he'd be training with them every day, but at the same time, he'd be pretty devastated. Like, it's just poor timing for him. He's one of the best players we've ever had at our club. And by the time we finally get to the level that he had been trying to work to as a player, he's not his body, but probably just his age. He's just a little bit too old, and there's a few younger guys that are a bit better and a bit quicker than him at the moment. So it's just unlucky, really.
I reckon he'd be content with it now. He probably knows that he's not really close and just enjoying being around him. I was just thinking then, where do you reckon Jonesy would have rated at his peak in the current team? Do you think he'd be one of our top 5 or 6, or is he not that good? I reckon he's probably a top 10 at his peak in our team now.
I think you could. I think you could almost reel him off. So Oliver, Petrarca, May,
Jacko,
Lever, Dogger already.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm just trying to think of the others.
Well, he was never a bona fide A grader, was he? And I reckon we probably got about 6 or 7 A graders.
But he was just like he was the face of our club when we were getting beaten by.
We love Jonesy. Yeah,
yeah, he was the only person trying,
and he was bloody good. Like, you can't take that away. He was a bloody good player.
He won B&Fs.
But I think it's just a different ball game now.
He was a B+, A- for me. I've been pretty candid about it. Look, I love him. I love the fact that he didn't leave. I love that he bought into everything to do with the club. He was committed to getting us out of the predicament we were in. He's hard as nails. He's tough. He's played 300-plus games. But
he could have left as well.
Yeah,
I'm sure he would have had contracts thrown at him.
But if you look at it objectively, and I know there's a brigade out there that are hoping that he gets some fairy tale ending, he's just not good enough anymore. And that's the harsh reality of this situation for Nathan Jones. Like, if he was 2-3 years younger, he'd have a massive sniff. He could be anywhere between 17 to 22 in our team in terms of, ranking the players. So it's really unfortunate in terms of timing. But do you know what? I reckon he's such a legend in terms of his personality and just his general persona that he'll be reveling in this, and he'll be doing everything from a leadership point of view, experience point of view, to just get around the boys, make sure everyone's fine, particularly the younger players. And you would never see
another coach, you reckon?
Correct.
Nazi.
He won't be sulking, and he won't have his tail between his legs. He'll be driving everyone as much as he can to make sure that we can try and win this flag. So that's the mark of the man that is Nathan Jones, and that's why we love him. So
Agree.
it is unfortunate, but for people that think there's a swan song or a fairy tale, I'm sorry. Objectively, he's just not in and around the 22 anymore. Just is what it is. I just wanted to speak about 3 things that I really want to see this week, and you boys can chime in before we go out with the obscure demon. I think you said it at the top, Sam. I really want Ben Brown to have another good game because he's built a really solid block of form. We've spoken about how probably the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle for us was our forward line. The defence is incredible. Like, it's crazy how good our defence is. Our midfield's gone to a whole new level. They're selfless now. They run both ways. The wingers have been awesome with that as well. But the one thing that we've been trying to tinker with recently is just trying to get the mix and the connection right with the forward line. It's starting to work, which is great. And Ben Brown, clearly after his mini pre-season, has got it right. So he's got 9 goals in his past 3 games. I want him to kick at least 2 or 3 this weekend and look really, really good. Like, I thought last week he was great in the first quarter, really good in the second, probably tapered off a little bit, but I would have given him a tick because I think structurally he was bringing the ball down to ground, doing a great job. So the first thing I want to see is I just want to see Ben Brown have another really good game because I think he's going to be pivotal coming into the first week of finals. What do you think, boys?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think more so than just Brown, it's probably more for me the forward line cohesion. So I think I mentioned earlier, I don't think we've seen 3 forwards work that well yet this year. So if I can take anything away from this weekend's game, it'd be how good is our forward line. Like, you had Brown kicking a few, you got T-Mac getting up on the wing and doubling back and even kicking a couple himself, and Fritter does what Fritter does, and the smalls. I still haven't seen that complete game from our forwards, so that's one thing. The other thing for me is probably Viney coming in, and, you know, he went out with a pretty dumb act a couple of weeks ago. He'll be, I think, what we know of Jack Viney, he'll be raring to go. And if he comes in and maybe does a job on someone, like maybe go to Danger or go to a Selwood and just get it in his face, really keen to see how he goes, especially for someone that's been an elite performer for a while now. He gets a lot of knocks, Viney, but he's been the heart and soul for a few years, and on the verge of a finals campaign, he'll have steam coming out of his ears, I reckon. Yeah.
You want to see him controlled, don't you, Adsy? Just keep it in check, Jack. Keep it in check.
I still want him to be a little bit reckless. Like, I don't want him to move off from his natural game style.
Yeah.
Because that's why we love him. We love him because he is a psychopath, basically, and he would be so intimidating for opposition players.
And supporters.
So, I want him to keep playing his same game, but maybe just not put your elbow in someone's throat.
Yeah. He's off the MMA moves, Jack.
Yeah. Like, he's a full blown psychopath, but just don't do that and just hit the ball hard. And I reckon he would be so intimidating because you know that he's never going to pull out of a contest.
Never.
Clary and Track would love him playing in the side, I reckon, because he sort of just takes it, and you know that he'd block for them, he'd do heaps for them, I reckon.
And that's probably why
spot on.
James Jordan has gone out, just because he's
similar
quite inside as well.
Yeah.
So they couldn't have 2 of them in there, which is why Sparrow's probably a little bit lucky in a way. Anyway,
that's what's
he's
up for grabs.
He's like our Libber. Sorry, Naughty. I reckon he's like our Libber, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, no, he is. And he's probably not as polished as Libber. Like, I've actually been impressed with Libber's eye for goal. His field kicking at times really good, hits targets. Jack's a little bit sloppier in that regard, but just on James Jordan quickly, Adsy, like, that spot is so up for grabs. I think it does, even though James Jordan has gone out of the side, I still think he's a genuine chance of getting that spot back over Tommy Sparrow.
It's the same as what Sam was saying earlier with Joel Smith and Pig.
Yeah.
Is if they don't perform this week, we're in that position where they have pressure on. So if they have a shit game, either of those 2 players, then it's an automatic call-up for the other 2 that are in waiting. There's more than 2, you know what I mean?
Great position to be in as a footy club.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think the one thing, and I hate putting a line through players, but I think it's pretty evident. I think that's it for Melk. Like, he's probably had his couple of games. He didn't really perform last week. He probably needed to have a similar game to the game he had against the Eagles to give himself a sniff. Unless there's injuries, I think he's probably done in terms of choosing first week of the finals. But I think you're right. The other two spots are 100% up for grabs between those two duos of players. I personally, I hope it's Jordan because he's played majority of the season. But if it's Sparrow, whatever, we'll back him in.
What about Hunt? Like from all reports, Hunt could be available in 3 weeks. So if we win the first game,
he has to come back in. I think. Hunt.
Far out. That is so difficult. But like, if little Bowser's killing it.
Sparrow would go out for Hunt, I reckon.
Yeah.
You just take Hunt out.
Yeah. I don't think Bow Wow's going out. Bow Wow's pretty cemented.
He's so good.
Yeah, like he seriously is though.
Yeah.
Joel Smith is obviously and Hibbo are just fighting for it at the moment. And then if Hunt's available, they have to put him in. He's been awesome for us all year. Yeah,
no, I totally agree. I think Jaden Hunt's an absolute lock if he can get himself fit and firing. The other thing I want to see, boys, I just want to see Stephen May do a number on Hawkins because of the incident. I know it was accidental, fractured his eye socket. Stephen May came back after just missing 1 week, which was crazy. He was meant to be out for 4, I think. I just want to see him do a number on him because it'll give him some confidence, get his touch back. If you can keep him to 1, maybe 2, there might be a cheapy free kick. There always is for Tommy Hawkins. Just beat him. Like, it'd be really good for him to just beat him because no matter who you're coming up against week 1, whether it's Dogs, Port, Brisbane, even potentially Geelong if Port win by X amount of points and we happen to lose, then you know that Stephen May doing a job on a big key forward in a final is going to be important to the outcome. So I just want May to go in there knowing that he is, one of the best brute one-on-one defenders. So hopefully
I don't think there's any danger of that. He seems pretty confident, May.
I think he knows that.
He was all over. I think he was all over Hawkins in round 4 until he got injured. Yeah.
I tell you what this stinks of, and it's been really worrying me.
Yeah.
Is that Hawkins shouldn't be playing. So personally, I think it's bullshit that he's playing. If you look at the other suspensions that have happened from his tackle, and he's such a big body, he just runs through people and he always seems to cause injuries. If he injures one of our good players when he's not meant to be playing, I'm going to be pretty cut.
Yep, I absolutely agree. And on that, I know I've got one last thing before we go to Obscure Demon. Just please, football gods, you've been so nice to us all season. Just not one injury, please.
Everyone knock on wood.
Knocking. Like, just not. Because that's the thing. Like, Goody's gone and backed himself and all the players have come out and said we're going to play hard and we're going to play our best brand of footy and try and win the game, put our best foot forward, all that crap, right? Which is great. And I'm happy that we're going to do that. But just no injuries.
Let's just hope we're 6 goals up 3/4 time and just literally take everyone off.
Who were the 4 you'd take off? Max, Clary,
Track, and Stephen May or Lever
on the bench.
Yeah, maybe just take 6 off and we'll just play 2 short.
We probably end up losing from a 6-goal margin.
Yeah, but if it doesn't matter between finishing first and second, who cares? We'll see.
Yeah.
But we can't really, we've had a really good run. Let's just hope that continues. Injury, you can't escape.
No, I agree. All right, Obscure Demon boys. Last week we played this ADSI and the answer was Luke Williams, which threw a few people, particularly Marker, because I think he was convinced it was some St. Kevin's boy. Oh, no, actually, didn't he play footy with Luke Williams?
It was St. Kevin's and he guessed someone else.
Yeah, he guessed someone else.
And then weirdly, me and Nuggets were talking about that Luke Williams happened to be like our cousin, like one of his best mates, and we'd been in a Bucks party with him.
You couldn't even get it.
And we didn't get it, no.
No, that's fine. It's all good. All right, well, we're going to go around again, boys. So just the idea, Slammer, is it's a who am I? There's 5 questions. They progressively get easier as we go on. You can buzz in. If you buzz in, you have a guess. You don't get it right, then you're out. And then obviously one of you can just sit on the pine and wait and then answer and hopefully get the chocolate. So we'll go with the first question. So the first one is, I gave up footy at age 14 to focus on basketball full time, but then I got sick of it and I got back into footy at 17. That's the first clue. Not a lot in that, is there?
What was the years we're looking between?
You're looking early to mid 2000s, all right? So I'll give you that little clue. We'll go to the second question. I'm from Frankston, taken with pick 66 in the 2002 National Draft. So,
I'm going to...
Are you going to buzz in? Oh,
yeah.
Really? Okay.
I'm going to say Godfrey.
Nah, he was taken well before then.
Was? Oh, I was... okay.
That's okay.
Right, I'm out.
That's all right. We might even let you back in just for the sake of it. All right, third question. I blanketed Matt Richardson and settled in really nicely in my first year in 2003, playing 17 games, and I was the winner of the best first-year player for the club. That's the next clue. Do you want me to go on, Slammer?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. I missed the...
Wait. 2003. Who was our key?
2002, wasn't it?
2003 was his first year.
2003 won our best defender or something, wasn't
Best first-year player.
Best first-year player as a big defender, and he's taken Matthew Richardson.
Yeah.
Who did we have playing defence in 2003? We were pretty good then.
Yeah, well, that's what you should have been thinking about before you buzzed in, all right? So question 4, I missed the entire 2004 season through injury, but I bounced back in 2005 playing 19 games. It was his best year for the club.
Oh,
He was pretty important.
tough.
He was pretty important.
I can see someone in my head. I'm just trying to think of his name.
I'll give you the last one then. So I wore number 35. I played 47 games for the club, and I have the same surname as a certain famous Manchester United manager.
Oh, Ryan Ferguson. That's who it is.
Ryan Ferguson, boys.
Yeah, wow.
Do you remember him?
He was in the sort of the Armstrong era as well. Remember that little Stevie Armstrong? What
It was an eerie time.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Like, how
Ryan
better is
Ferguson.
it with like Petrarca and Clayton Oliver and Max Gorn now?
And May and Lever, like we're talking about Ryan Ferguson being our key post.
Lever's about to break the record for most intercept marks ever. So
And like people were getting excited about Ryan Ferguson's prospects in 2005. They're like, no, he's pretty good.
Yeah, didn't play 50 games.
He's pretty good, but and they're like, Jake Lever, Stephen May. Oh yeah, and Harrison Petty. What's up, man?
let's not underplay that Lever thing as well. I'll put my hand up. I gave Lever a lot of shit early on at the D's, but if he does that, everyone was talking about Alex Rance being this amazing player as he was. He goes past him. That was Rance's big play. I know Rance is probably a little bit more one-on-one than Lever, but it's it's a pretty great effort for Lever to come in and do that. So I think he needs to make 4, take another 4 or maybe even 3 this week to break the record. So everyone keep tabs on that.
Amazing. It's absolutely incredible. And also just on that, so I put the post up today about Jake Lever being number 1 in intercept marks, number 1 in intercept possessions. Who is number 2, boys, for both of those categories?
At Melbourne or in the league?
No, in the league. So this is AFL wide. Wow.
Intercept marks, maybe Harris Andrews.
Yep. And do you know what? I'll
Really?
just tell it to you now. Harris Andrews is second in both of those indicators. So that's a mark of how good Jake Lever's become because everyone speaks about Harris Andrews as the best defender. Jake Lever is on par, if not slightly better than him right now. Crazy. Can't believe it. Anyway, I love him. I backed him, so I'll give myself a little bit of kudos there. But boys, we'll wrap up, but we have to do predictions, of course. We'll start with Slammer. What are we thinking? Do you know what? Let's shake it up. Let's do a prediction and a bog. Go for it.
Right, I reckon we'll win. I'm confident for a number of reasons. So I'll go Melbourne by, let's say, 5 goals, and Bog. I'm going to go Stephen May. He'll keep Hawkins real quiet.
I like that. Very good. What about you, Adzi?
Yeah, look, I reckon we're in for a big win.
What are we talking?
Matty optimistic.
Probably going to go 10 goals. And best on ground, I'm going to go with T-Mac. I reckon T-Mac's going to kick 5.
Whoa.
And Joe Corcoran is probably going to go to a club somewhere in Ocean Grove.
Nice. Yep. A regional
about you,
open.
Naughty?
A regional open, by the way. Or are they
Yeah,
not?
they're open.
Oh, nice. Jeez, wish I was regional right now. Okay, I'm going to go for, I think it'll be a 10-point win. I think when we put Gorney May, Track and Clary all on the bench in the last quarter when we're up by 6 goals. They'll get close, but we'll hang on when we put Q in the rack. And then I'm going to go Christian Salem best on. So I think he's going to continue his form from last week. Little Bow Wow is going to help him open up his game again. He'll have 30-odd and he'll just dictate the whole thing at half-back.
I like how we've all gone obscure with our best ons. No one said Clary or Petrarca. Yeah. That's a little bit too obvious.
Also, Bow Wow, he'll be eligible for Rising Star next year.
He will be, correct. Yes.
Yeah, hasn't played enough games and will be young enough.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll
lock him in.
So hang on. Are you saying Dogger's going to win it this year and then we're going to get Little Bow Wow
Yeah,
next
we're going to
year?
go back-to-back in Rising Stars and Flags, basically.
Perfect. And then we'll get to 14 flags. We'll be 1 behind the Pies, 2 behind the Dons and Blues. It's all happening. God, we've got a big chance this year. It's crazy. Woo. It's mental. Anyway, boys, it's been a pleasure, as always. Are we going to go out to anything, Adzi? Like, what's...
Nah. I don't have any...
We're lit on. We're lit on going into...
strictly in studio.
Okay.
Yeah, we need the good sound just because my voice is very good. I need the good mics.
True, you do need the good mics. All right, we'll leave it there. But, boys, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully they get the job done. But you know what? In saying that, it's going to be friggin' strange because I reckon everything hinges on what happens tomorrow night with the Doggies and Port.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. I think we need that result. Ideally, you want to be playing Port week 1.
And let's bloody enjoy it. Watch tomorrow night. Hope the Dogs win and
let's win the minor premiership.
Either way, yeah. Let's try and win the minor premiership, and then we go into a finals campaign. It's bloody exciting. But great to be here.
No, mate, great. I reckon. Do you know what? If Joel Smith performs the way that Slam performed tonight, Adzi, I think
we're winning the flag.
Yeah,
ship Nuggets off.
Yeah, I think Nuggo's done. What do the listeners think? Give us some feedback. Did you love Slammer? Is Nuggets done? Let us know. It could be end of the era for Nuggo. So we'll see.
Make it happen.
Yeah, we'll see. But good luck to Joel Smith on the weekend as well, just as a final point. Massive for him.
Absolutely.
So, enjoyed it. Thanks a lot, boys.
Thanks, Naughty.
See you, fellas.
Thanks, Matt.
See you, mate. Awesome work there from Slammer. His little brother, Matt. It's very good. Oh, shit. I've got dinner. Do I? We've got dinner? What? Can you make noise? You can make noise. That's my wife, Fiona, cooking dinner. What are we having tonight? Burritos? Oh, my God. I'm excited now. We'll wrap it up there. It's been an amazing season. As we said before, we've collected the most points in any home and away season ever. We've got a chance to get the 17 wins on the board on Saturday night. Can't wait for it. Everyone enjoy. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Don't do anything silly. We need to get out of this lockdown the next 2 weeks. But again, a big thanks to everyone that supports the podcast. I'm lining up a lot of different content in the coming weeks, putting some feelers out to people like Byron Pickett, Aaron Davey, Paul Roos, David Schwartz, Cam Bruce, Brad Green, Adam Uze, Choco Williams. Going to try and speak to the club this week about getting some of those interviews sorted. Just kick on in finals and continue to put out the best content that we can. But very excited about Melbourne's prospects heading into week 1, and hopefully we can get the cherry on top of the cake for this season and win the minor premiership. But again, thanks for listening. Thanks for your support, and enjoy Saturday night.